Welcome back to Business AM. This is Metropole Review. This morning, I want us to talk about something really quick before we get into the conversation this morning. All right, Mr. Washington, good morning. Always a pleasure to have you around. Fanny, thank you very much for always coming. It's a pleasure to have you around.
Thank you, Sam.
Just want to start with one little thing. It might be or might not be the Huduma number conversation. I don't know whether you guys have seen that this morning going around for public consumption, the Huduma number bill 2019. It actually now is official. It outlines exactly what Huduma number should be able to do for you. I'm not saying this is official. We're just waiting for communication as well.
Yeah.
All those fears that Kenya has had about Huduma number and how it's not supposed to limit you from any service, turns out it might. So for a couple million Kenyans who are yet to have a Huduma number, it's time for you to run. Was it coming, Fanny? And we're not saying this is official.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the communication. But we've seen pamphlets around, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've been leaked. We're just waiting to see when it shall be tabled. The bill 2019. Was it coming?
I think it was. Where they smoked this fire. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how many services.
Yes.
But we knew it was coming. Because why should the government go through all this? And we had issues about NHIF being people using it to launder like fraud and all those things.
Yes.
So we knew there was a way they were trying to come to like restrict how people are accessing these things.
Yes.
I think it was coming.
Mr. Washington, Ndegea.
Yeah,
was it coming?
I think so too, because you see, it was introduced very, very hurriedly.
Yes.
And to a certain extent, no one knew what it was all about. You know, all of a sudden, people have been told to register again. While we know in this country, if you have your ID, you can do anything with your ID.
Yes.
You can access all the services. I mean, if you want to open, for example, a bank account, you don't need a Huduma number. Now, the point is this. Why do you still need a Huduma number? I mean, it's still confusing as we speak right now. Because why do you still need it? Is it going to replace the ID, so to speak?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So
We're still waiting for our Huduma numbers for those
Yeah.
people who take them. We want to see exactly how they're going to get affected. And if that is true, do you think that is the way to go? Because at first, they said they're not going to force you to take it.
Yeah.
And this is quote unquote. But if you're smart, you should be
You run.
taking it.
You go get it.
Like they said, we don't force you to vote.
Yeah.
But if you're smart, please go vote for a good leader.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there are consequences. But now this one, they took a softer approach.
Yeah.
They got the numbers, isn't it? Now, do you think that this little number that hasn't been on board now going to fall hard because majority already have it?
I think they're going to try as much as possible. But when you're trying to get a passport, I'm telling you, they're going to tell you, what's your Huduma
What's your
number?
Huduma number?
When you're trying to do the basic things,
Yes.
like get your new driver's license,
Yes.
they'll be like,
What's your Huduma number?
So they'll find a way.
And that's the way that now most of them are going to run back to the
Yes.
chiefs, isn't it? Because 10 years that this is not official, we're still waiting for this information. Now, what we do know is that it was coming.
Yeah.
It was coming. Good. Let's talk about issues economy this morning, therefore. Now, the Central Bank of Kenya has stepped up talks with banks to lower the cost of mobile phone-based loans amid claims they are saddling borrowers with expensive debt. Now, according to the CBK Governor, Dr. Patrick Njoroge, the discussions go beyond the interest on loans to processing charges and facilitation fees. Now, the pricing of some of the mobile phone-based loans includes a huge component of fees, which is outside regulatory control. For example, M-Shwari, introduced by Safaricom and Commercial Bank of Africa in 2012, charges a facilitation fee of 7.5% on credit regardless of its duration within a month. Now, KCB M-Pesa loans include a one-off 2.5% loan negotiation fee. Now, banks and other mobile-based lenders are currently able to skirt a government cap on interest of 4 points above the central bank's benchmark interest rate, which now stands at 9%, capping loans at 14%. A 7.5 M-Shwari loan equates to an annualized interest rate of 90%. The shortest loan repayment period is 1 week. Now, lawmakers in recent months called for regulation of mobile phone-based lenders, saying they become predatory and operating like Shylocks. Washington, let's first start with that. Aren't they predatory and operating as Shylocks?
I'm telling you, the issue of this lending through mobile phones
yes.
is one of the most unfortunate thing that we have seen in this country. They've really hooked people up onto it, onto free money, so to speak. That's why everyone thinks it's free money.
Yes.
Until you have to pay it. You know? But the interest rates is the most shocking thing about all this. Because see, when you have to pay 90% of the interest of the on the loan, so to speak,
yes.
You know, it is go way beyond the normal or the moral way of lending money.
Yes.
You know, it's even more than Sherlock's. Sherlock's, I don't think they go to that extent. You know, look at it. You know, Simba. There's this. We hear at the maximum interest that is earned by some of these loan sharks is 35% per month.
Quite huge, isn't it?
How much is that per year? That's close to 350%.
Wow.
Per year, right?
Yes.
Now, but people still borrow, cause with money, anything happens with money. You are waiting for your money to be paid. It doesn't come in. So what do you do?
But Washington, just before I come to you, Fanny, we talk about the numbers of Kenyans who are into this. If you look at the way the government and the parliamentarians have really tried to look into it, they've been trying. But there's this big question, M-Pesa question, which we do know the government also, the Safaricom question, which also has M-Pesa, which you know the government owns quite a big stake inside there. Do you think that because you need lobbying for some of these bills to go. They've been trying since 2018. You know, some of them are saying you can't access loans on more than 2 mobile platforms. You can't do this, you can't do that, isn't it? Treat them as banks, which we know M-Pesa Bank is one of those issues that they might get to Parliament, but after that they get stifled. Now we know there's another bill sitting, Washington, about now you having to acquire a certificate from the regulator. That even if you are telco, look, when you offer money services, then you need to go get a certificate now from a regulator. And they're fearing that because, therefore, if you go get it from them, they'll ask you the question, are you not a bank? There's this question, bank.
That's
what do you think is not gone through?
Well, the thing is this, that you see, M-Pesa is not, they're lending money, of course, through the platform of M-Shwari, right?
Yes.
But what is behind M-Shwari? It's a bank.
Right. Because you can't run away from the fact that it is a bank, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a bank behind M-Shwari. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a bank behind. Where's M-Shwari getting money from? It's getting from a bank.
Yes.
So, what is going on here? Should the loans that they're giving out be regulated by CBK, so to speak?
Yes.
Or what exactly is going on?
Yes.
What do you need? You see, some of these regulations, they might tend to overlap one another.
Yes.
You know, you might make regulations. Now you make regulations not for telcos, so to speak. You know, then you make regulations. There's also a regulation for the banks.
Yes.
So what are you gonna make different regulations, so to speak, or what?
Okay. Now, Richie, I just want you to load for me the CGAP research that they did in 2016 about exactly what lenders most Kenyans are using, so we see exactly the trend that is coming from there. Now, Fanny, as they load it, so that me and you have a look at it. Now, look, 19 million Kenyans currently have a mobile app that is used to lend money. So you own M-Shwari, or after M-Shwari, you have another one that gives you more money as well. Therefore, let's look at it like that. So under which platform is Dr. Patrick Njoroge going to regulate these entities? Because you and me know, they can decide to disappear. I mean, fintech is neither here nor there. And that's why people like it. They can just decide to go. So when you try and regulate this, under which platform are you going to regulate them all?
I think Dr. Patrick Njoroge is speaking within his lines, because what he's doing is talking about the spirit of the law. He's not saying you have to have a bank after your name, but the thing is, as long as you're in the business of lending money to the public, you are still operating like a bank. So I think that's the same spirit he's following. Because so that in that way, whether you're in fintech or something else we don't know comes up, you're still operating under that. And with that, he'll be able to, he's trying to be as blanket as possible. Because the more you try and streamline, the more people find loopholes. So as long as you have, under the spirit, you're actually operating like a bank, you should be under this law.
All right, Richie, just take me to the next slide so we can talk about this in line with interest rate. Just take me to the next slide. Good. Now, this is 2016. Now, Fanny, I just want us to respond to this question with what we have here.
Okay.
Now, I want you to look at M-Shomari, and I want us to interpret this data that they got from 2016.
All right.
You see that now this one pretty much tells us currently have a loan.
Yes.
Okay. And this one tells us used to have a loan.
Okay.
So now look, when you look at the people who were interviewed, and there were a two-based question. Do you currently have a loan? Did you have a loan on this?
Yeah.
Good. You find that the difference is just 0.8%. Look at that, 14%, 14.8%. But when it becomes even more vivid is when we talk about services like Tala. It is, do you have a loan? Yes. Did you used to have a loan? Yes. That's why it's taxed at 0.9%. Even this one's pretty much the same. 0.8% is just a negligible difference.
Yeah.
Which looks to tell us that it's you get the money,
Yeah.
pay the loan, and take another loan.
Yes.
Which is now what people are saying. Look, then we got to talk about interest rates. Do you think the conversation that we're trying to push here about interest rates marries this data that we're getting from 2016 in terms of how Kenyans are using these mobile services?
Okay, you know the way you said the mobile lenders are actually like Shylocks. I think they're worse because you go to a Shylock, these guys come looking for you.
Yes.
Like you'll be on your phone and they're like, did you know you just get a message literally begging you to take a loan. So I think they're
Yes.
worse than a Shylock. And then the fact that they're creating a system where for you to survive, you need to continuously borrow. So that hits the fact that means it's too expensive. You can't actually afford to
Yes.
borrow. So maybe that's why they're actually trying to hit the rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Washington, let's look at it like this. In the 2019 national census that we're going to do, I think there's a part they've included in terms of household indebtedness. Isn't it? How many households have debt when it comes to the way in which that you consume your services and goods that are offered within the economy? Do you think that is going to be more realistic when it comes to understanding the effect that some of these mobile lenders are generating within the economy? And how bad is household indebtedness for the Kenyan economy?
Well, there's one thing we know is that this economy is not doing very, very well.
Yes.
We also know there's a lot of unemployment in this country. And of course, unemployment means so many people don't have money or subsistence money. Now, when you have that kind of poverty, that level of poverty in the economy, what do you expect? You expect people to borrow, hoping they're going to repay.
Yes.
And so you have most of the households, they're borrowing, but at the end of the day, most of them are late in paying, so to speak. So you have a lot of indebtedness in the economy, and that is why when I was looking at this, you find that there are so many people actually who are listed on the CRB as not having paid their monies, and actually almost like 98 or 99% of the CRB young men who've been listed there is due to these mobile loans, because they borrow, they don't pay. So, and immediately they don't pay, these guys don't even wait.
Yes.
They take you very fast to CRB, in a bid. Well, it's a way of in a bid to make you pay the money that you borrowed, But shouldn't we be looking at it in terms of now when you have that kind of a disconnect, people are borrowing and not paying, then there's something very, very wrong that should be looked at.
Yes. All right. Just Fanny, I just wanted to bring you in on that, the household indebtedness that we're looking at.
Yeah.
This person will say, yes, there's the other side. That is now the currency flow within the economy. There is money available. You get it, you use it for your commodities, and then you pay it back in the evening. Some of them are saying, look, we are filling a gap that the banks in this country didn't want to fill since 2016.
Yeah.
We do know since the cap on interest rates were introduced in the country. But now, look at this data though. Does it mean that if you use the money, until it ends, and then pay back the money and get the money, is that the currency flow that we're talking about? Should we be talking about, if we're talking about currency flow, then we're saying, good, if there's credit flow, then this one, those ones who don't have a loan should be getting lesser and lesser, as opposed to getting stuck within the same margin. Look, it's 14%, 14.8%. There's another one here, 0.9%, 0.9%. Pretty much the same people who owe the same loan, time in, time out. Do you have? Yes. Did you pay? Yes. But you have the same one, 0.9%.
Yeah. I think the system that the mobile banks kind of created
Yes.
is one where you're not even trying that much, because like you said, you borrow and you hope you'll be able to repay. So if I tell you I can give you money, usually, okay, if you think about the difference in culture,
Yes.
our parents or grandparents, you will borrow as minimal as possible. Very little, because you understand what it means. But
Yes.
this one, I'm telling you, I can give it to you, and tomorrow you're like, it's fine, I'll just go borrow again, and I'll still be able to carry on my business.
Yes.
So they actually created a culture which is now bringing to what Washington has said, a situation where we are hoping, but yet we know the economy is not doing well. So we're still hoping, but we know
Yes.
there's no money. That's so where are you going to get this extra money where you're no longer in that cycle? And again, the interest rates are going at a higher rate than you're able to repay.
Yes.
So you're just creating a big bubble. I don't know when it will burst though.
Washington.
True.
Now we do know that the lenders have a digital lenders union, and they say, look, we're going to look into discipline issues. Do you think that discipline should have been the lesser fact as opposed to looking into interest issues?
I don't get it. Discipline in terms of who's
In terms of not texting your family to tell you to pay your dad has a loan, so you tell him to pay the
I
loan.
remember there was that
Yes.
one where if you don't pay up, they want to embarrass you to pay. Come on.
Yes.
You can't pay
Not
because of that.
Yes.
They can't pay because you've been embarrassed. If you don't have money, you don't have.
Yes.
So I mean, this is like a gangster thing. This is like a gangster economy. It's what's different between what these guys are doing, what mafia used to do. If you don't pay up, they come and break your legs. Or they start threatening your family. That's the same thing these guys are doing. Only now that they're doing it, on a softer note, so to speak. These are gangsters. These guys should not be allowed to be operating, by the way.
Yes.
Look at this way. That is going way overboard. Simba, the moment I lend you some money, and I'm telling you I'm going to embarrass you in front of people, what is that? You're not supposed to be. Business is not supposed to be done like that,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. There should be some level of decorum.
Yes.
You borrow money, and so I mean, actually, from the beginning, you should know what's gonna be done to you if you
Yes.
don't repay.
Yes.
Like the banks. If the banks want to lend to you, they tell you, fine, what's the collateral? Whatever you have as collateral, they tell you if you don't pay, you're gonna
Then
sell
this
this.
is exactly what
not
we're
not
going to do,
start
isn't it?
shouting how you're not paying my money.
Anyway, I just want us to move to a new. It's not new. It's been going on since Monday. Now, we do know that there's an indefinite strike of taxi operators in Kenya. That is the digital taxi operators in Kenya. Now, besides the strike from online taxi drivers, Uber has rolled out a new rider quality system that will say it blacklist Kenyan riders who consistently receive poor evaluation from its drivers. Uber's new policy follows a myriad of complaints from drivers over unruly customers who make their job harder to execute. I just want us to leave that intro there. Well, do you think it would be possible for taxi operators, Fanny, to stage a strike that will make the economy say, well, we are at a standstill? Guess what? Even when they're on strikes, there are still some services that are still in operation. How would they make this stick?
I mean, it's just really unfortunate because other than Uber, there's Taxify.
Yes.
They're doing normal, like your personal taxi drivers. Like,
Yes.
there's just too much competition. It's just too then they've not captured the market to the extent where they'll be like, if we do a strike, it's going to cause such a big effect to the market. It's
Yes.
just unfortunate. We have too many players in the market.
Yes, but Washington, when you look at it, all of them fall under the same association. And we do know that now, these companies, Uber, the likes of Bolt, the likes of Little Cup, they are registered as companies under counties in which they operate. Now, when you look at it like that, how is it possible for these operators to really make a proper strike? Because as we do know right now, there's an indefinite strike. But I took a taxi to work in the morning, so meaning the strike didn't affect me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to resonating with the needs of my taxi driver, I have no ability, probably other than to tip him after the ride. But they don't want that. They want better services, better price per kilometer, because that's where the whole fight is coming about. And this company, Uber, that's where the problem starts, because they say, yes, these are smaller companies, they copy them because they've got the larger base.
True.
Yes.
Well, there's one thing I know about, these taxi companies, they've really come to revolutionize the taxi business, so to speak.
Yes.
It's a good thing. But you see, we really have a problem of people coming together and lobbying for better issues, And you see, these companies, if they can't be able to hold their members together. Because you see, it's all about the members. The members need to come together and speak with one voice. You're not supposed to, some members are not supposed to be rogue members, so to speak.
Yes.
Do
you find it funny that one driver therefore would be in more than 3 companies, and you call this driver and tell them go on strike, but when he compares the services he gets, if I don't get good in here, I'm going to get it good the other side. Do you think those are the issues that are sort of affecting the way these guys now are doing their strike?
Well, and I tend to think actually this is an Uber thing.
Yes.
I think this is an Uber
it's
strike,
Uber.
so to speak.
Let's just speak about it.
I don't think these others actually are really complaining about it.
It's actually very true.
Yeah. And you see, with Uber has had quite a number of issues. I don't know, maybe because it was the first taxi company to go digital, so to speak. It's been having a lot of issues. And I think most of these companies now, what they do is like they copy the weaknesses of Uber and improve on them, and they offer better services, so to speak. But you see, they're not actually wrong in highlighting the issues they're talking about. But the point is this: how effective are they lobbying for the same?
That's the thing that we're talking about, Fanny. I want us to just get back to this again quickly. Look, they're saying the amount of money that you charge per kilometer, you can't sit in an office somewhere and say, for our company, and the only thing you've given me is just an app to ride on, is 35 shillings per kilometer or 16 shillings per kilometer. That you have to come look at the conditions that I'm working at, and then you say, good, now for you in this area, it's going to be this much per kilometer. In this town, it's going to be this much per kilometer. Or generally, let us decide a better way to come up with these price ranges. Which means they're saying most of these taxi companies, they're more customer based as opposed to driver based. But they run through the drivers. Do you think they have a point?
I think they have a very big point, because for myself as a client, I'm like, it's the cheapest.
The cheapest, I'll go for it.
When you talk to the Uber drivers and you understand how it affects them, how something like you using a credit card, how that affects them. That's when you start to, it's to me, it's beneficial because it's cheaper. However, on their side, and they're the ones who are giving me the service. Plus, Uber is also an example of how we copy-paste something without really, how it works in the States, the conditions in the States, all the roads are the same. Like you're saying, the road you're going to find in CBD, the amount of traffic is not the same you're going to find in Ruaka, in Westlands. So I do think they have a point. But again, to what Washington was saying, it comes to who's going to lobby for them. And do they have enough in numbers? And do they have enough impact to actually make the change? Because it has, unfortunately, it has to bite the government enough for them.
Doesn't it? Isn't it? All right. Questions that are getting asked is that, is it not possible for Kenya to look at its way that it operates, that if we are killing betting companies from the country, is it not possible to also say, since our drivers are crying this much, they were getting tear gas the other day at Uhuru Gardens just for demonstrating, is it not possible for us to sit down and talk to our tech guys and say, let's come up with a Kenyan app that is going to take care of all these issues if drivers don't want Uber? But the question is, did you take a taxi to work? Did you use Uber? Did you use Bolt? Guess what? Your driver was on strike, even as far as he brought you to work. Questions to think about. Okay, now, national carrier Kenya Airways has received an air surveillance license from the aviation regulator, paving the way for it to commence domestic flight routes in the near future. Now, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, that's KCA, revealed in a Gazette notice last Friday that it has given the loss-making airline a 3-year green light to fly to Wajir, Homa Bay, Lokijogyo, Isiolo, and Masai Mara using Boeing 777, 767, 737, and Boeing 8170 aircraft. Yeah, the conversation around KQ will never stop. It has cost 3 men their jobs, and we don't know who's ready to take it. Because as we know right now, because there's an observer. Because he said, by the end of the year, I am done. It's actually impossible for me to continue effecting my policies in the running of this airline. Good. The only conversation, after going through a myriad of proposals, and I want to ask this question this morning. Why are we avoiding the talk for privatization, Fanny? Because it was let's merger with KIA. They refused. They said, we are not a loss-making entity. You are the ones in trouble. Why do you want us to merger? Isn't it? They said no. That was stifled. Parliament Transport Committee sat and they said the only way is for us to waive a tax. That was shelved. Good. Now, new one was, let's nationalize the airline. But the question is, where are we going to get this money to nationalize this airline? And does nationalizing mean the problems are done? Isn't it? The 51% stake that the government needs to get. But the question is this, why are we avoiding trading on privatization?
I mean, I don't think it should be nationalized. If we think something like something like Uchumi, it's too much, guys. Retail industry, nationalization. Okay, it's not nationalized, but it did not work for us. This is a whole national carrier. It had such good partners. You're going to kill it already. But what I do like happening right now is that they're no longer asking for money, and we are seeing them trying to put things that are going to try and change it. We're seeing initiatives coming. But before it was just like, we need money, give us more money.
But funny,
year in, year out.
I just want to ask you a question. The changes that we've seen from KQ, other than Mikosi saying, I'm unable to continue, is new routes. We had the one to New York, we introduced others to Europe, now local. Is that the way? Because even with the introduction of these other ones, we've not seen us really max tapes in terms of profitability. We still stand at 7.5 billion shillings in terms of losses. Like, what do you think is really going? That's introducing new routes locally.
You know, there's so many things that go to make a KQ a loss-making scheme. There's management.
It's just management, isn't
there is the fuel issue. You know, fuel keep on going up. There's the issue of passengers. You don't have enough passengers to board KQ. And for example, why don't you have enough passengers to board KQ? You see, I've used airlines a lot. But what you find is that when you compare between KQ and the competition, KQ is way too much expensive. You know, why would you take KQ that's offering almost double the fare of the competitor? Why would you do that? You know, then look at the management problems. KQ is full of management issues day in, day out. You know, but also let me also answer this question. Why is the government still insisting on reviving KQ? Because you find it's a matter of prestige.
Is it prestige?
It's a matter of prestige. You see, governments like having their own national carriers. You know? And even where the national carriers have gone down, like in most African countries, as we speak, they're even trying to revive them. True? True?
It's true.
You find, and that is why the government keeps on insisting all the time. We need our own national carrier. And so, what exactly needs to be done for KQ to actually run profitably, so to speak? It needs to be run more professionally. You know? It needs to be run more professionally. I mean,
even as you talk about professionalism, Mikos was touted to be the turnaround for KQ. He came in with his entourage and said, look, this is the man that we wanted for this airline. But guess what? He stepped out. He said, no, I'm unable. And Freddy, I want us to talk from this perspective, really. They said that the only thing that was going to help KQ was the touted merger between them and KA. It didn't happen. So doesn't that mean, therefore, that any conversation that follows after this merger that didn't happen with KA is a dead conversation? Is the last kick, what do they say? Is the last kick of a dying horse, isn't it?
I mean, I guess we're still trying. But my other question is, I think sometimes you get tired of conversation. Like, if you're telling me that these new routes is what's going to revive, based on what? Like he's saying,
the question, isn't
you see,
it?
that's it. If between here and going to like South Africa or something, I can understand why that's important to me, and I'd pay the extra premium. But now, 1 hour, you're telling yourself, for propeller versus this, am I going to spend 10K extra? You see, so now for me, I'm just trying to understand Wajir, some of these routes that they're kind of introducing, is it really going to be the one that actually turns it around? And what the reason why the CEO is leaving, we should ask, is he saying that it's not possible, or is he saying that we're not giving him space to do what he needs to do?
But regardless of what he says,
because
is he not stepping down?
Yes, he is. But for us to know whether there's no way to revive this, we need to understand why he's stepping down. Is he stepping down saying this thing can't be revived, or is he saying you guys are not giving me enough space, I cannot revive it under these conditions? Because those are two different things. If I come and I tell you run this, but I'm holding your hands behind your back, are you really going to be able to do this? No, you're not. So maybe he knows and he's like, for what I need to do, because when he took the job, he knew what he was trying to do.
Yes.
And if one of the conditions was for that merger, maybe he should have made sure it was signed off on before he took the job.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to understand why he's leaving.
More questions and answers this morning about KQ. The conversation doesn't stop there, because we know currently KQ is still on the red, because this is a company or an entity that makes losses in the region of 7.5 billion shillings. Still under that, the talk about this being the pride of Africa still goes on. The talk about nationalizing the airline still goes on. A lot of proposals, a lot of step downs, a lot of job losses. But the question is, what would be the turnaround for the airline? Good. Now, a study by the National Treasury recommends transforming land rent collection role to counties to enhance the regional government's own source revenue and reduce budget strains, adding that inflation adjustments could make the situation better. Now, land rent is imposed on leasehold parcels where annual payment has been reserved at the time the grant was issued. It is payable to the Ministry of Lands through the National Land Commission. Let's stop with that. Our governors are right now, and they're still waiting for Friday to go to the Supreme Court to say we need more money. They have rejected 316 billion. They want 385, and they've given us reasons as to why they want this 385. Control of Budget comes and says, no, I don't think I need to give you all this money, because if I give you the data in the way in which you've been using this money, you misplace the funds. The governors are saying, regardless of the fact that we need to do that, devolution says, look, we need to get funding from the national government to this tune. But this conversation goes on, and now they're getting told, look, what if you collected your land rates, all right, as opposed to remitting them to the National Land Commission? Have that money by yourself, so you can sort of try to look for ways in which you can make money other than running to the national government all the time. Fanny, do you think that this is a good proposal? And I want you to talk from the perspective of the way in which some of these counties have been using their money. We do know travel leaked some of the budgetary allocations for the counties.
To be honest, I think it's actually quite sad, because what you're doing is that you already know it's a sieve.
Yes.
Money goes into the county, it just leaves, and we don't see any progress in the counties. So for them saying, okay, now we'll give you land rates, so much work was done to make sure centralization of all these rates was done. So we spent money to make sure that was done. So are you saying that that process does not work? Do you think counties actually have access to the right technology to be able to do that effectively?
Yes.
And are you saying that now you think suddenly all these counties will be able to use the money better? Land is one of the largest. In fact, KRA has been getting so much money from this. So you're actually going to reduce our budget income. It's true.
It's true, isn't it?
You're going to reduce the budget income, and on top of that, expenses will continue going up because they were not taken care of with the money that was supposed to be taken care of it.
Mr. Ndegea, I just want us to get into this so we talk about it. I've been told to clear the show this morning. So now, look, there's already a tussle by the governors with some Senate councils. They're saying, look, whatever you're representing here, we don't recognize it. The government already signed the bill to use the money, meaning that the control of budget is just about to give them the 316 billion they are saying we don't want. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen on Friday. But amidst that, they want the money. Do you think that this is the magic bullet for some of the reasons that they don't have money in their budgets?
Well, the first question is this. What have they done with the money that has been allocated?
Yes.
It's not about even extra money. Because we see, I mean, the kind of corruption in the counties, it beats logic. It's way out of, I mean, people thought that now the counties have been established, development is going to go down the counties. But you find that the counties, everything followed the county formation, including corruption, you know? So corruption was devolved to the counties. And you find most of these governors, I mean, how do you get all the governors in this country being accused of billions in embezzlement?
Yes.
Billions, you know? Actually, if I was sitting on the control of budget, I would say, no. First of all, let's find out how this money has been utilized. We even have some counties even returning money back to the treasury, money that has not been used. You know? I mean, you see, getting more money from the land rates is neither here nor there. For sure, what have you done with the money that you've been allocated? Like you're gonna get this money at the end of the. I mean, the land is still in your county, so you're gonna get money at the end of the day. But first of all, we need to get accountability for this money. There's no shortcut about that.
Yes.
Because you see, as long as there's corruption, and you see, corruption never has enough. This corruption, as long as you're eating money, it never has enough of the money that's got.
Yes.
If you give them $500 million, give them 500, give them $1 trillion.
Yes.
They're still gonna go back to the streets again. And I was shocked for them to go back to the streets.
Yes.
These guys have no shame, man.
More talk on that. I'm telling you, the conversations are exactly what is happening in the economy. You already know. If you're taking a taxi, ask that driver, are you happy? Because he's on strike. Good. Good thing is, on Friday, the Supreme Court is going to make a ruling on how much money is supposed to come to your county. Can I tell you though, your governor is saying no to 316. He's saying he wants or she wants 385 billion shillings. But did you look at the list that was just released the other day by the Control of Budget? Where was your government in terms of expenditure, in terms of travel? Where was it? Where was it in terms of development funding? How much they use to develop your county, even as they ask for the 385 billion. But they have a point. It is devolution. Me and you voted for it. We said yes to the Constitution in 2010. Let's reap the benefits. Good. Business AM comes to an end. Washington, Fanny, thank you very much for having us today. All right. I'll see you at 1 p.m. for Metropole News.